Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Monday, the 21st of September. I hope your weekend is starting absolutely brilliantly. Obviously, this is the best way to start the day, up to speed with all of the important sports news. And today we'll bring you up to date with the Mitre 10 Cup and the Farah Palmer Cup action from yesterday. Also, we have an update from supercars, basketball, the Tour de France, a major shock in the Gulf, and obviously our normal birthdays and our update and cricket updates too. So going over to the Tour de France, and it was the final stage of the Tour de France into Paris, which is mainly a processional stage followed by a race around the Champs-Élysées, which normally ends up as a sprint, and that happened yet again. Sam Bennett, the Irish sprinter who is in green, the points jersey, won the stage ahead of world champion Mads Pedersen, and Peter Sagan finished there in third. This was a big change in the green jersey. Peter Sagan has won it every year for I think about the past 7 or 8 years, apart from the 1 year when he was disqualified for the way he was sprinting from the Tour de France in 2017. So, yes, big surprise there, and congratulations to Sam Bennett winning the green jersey. Overall, Tadej Pogačar won the yellow jersey and was the overall champion of the race after a stunning time trial yesterday, where he took over the lead from Primož Roglič. He also picked up the Young Riders classification and the King of the Mountains classification as well. And finally, Movistar won the team classification there. So congratulations to Pog on his victory. I'm going to hand you over to Ashwin now, who's going to take us through our cricket update.
Good morning to Paul, and good morning to our viewers and listeners on the interweb. Yeah, drama in just the second match of the IPL. Yes, in the second match between Delhi Capitals and the Kings 11 Punjab, ended with their respective innings on the same score of 157 for 8. Shreyas Iyer and Rishabh Pant, Marcus Stoinis getting the Capitals out of a bit of early trouble when they were 3 for 13. Stoinis going on to make 53 from just 21 balls. Sami being particularly miserly for the Kings 11, going for just 15 runs off his 4 overs. Conversely, the Kings 11 started well before scraping through to tie the scores. Chris Jordan getting out off the last ball of the innings, going for the win. Earlier, Mayank Agarwal scored 89 with the Capitals losing Ravichandra Ashwin to injury, Ashwin bowling only 1 over. So to the super over, well, it wasn't even a contest because the Kings 11 losing 2 wickets. Therefore, that's basically ends the super over or the eliminator overs. And then the Capitals basically only needing 3 to win were even helped by a wide that was bowled by the Kings 11. So in effect, going through to win just off 2 balls or the runs off 2 balls. And India could be hosting England in the UAE this winter. The BCCI has signed an agreement with the ECB to boost cricketing ties between the 2 boards. Whilst the agreement only covers the IPL this year, further discussions were held around India hosting England as well as next year's IPL, both being hosted in the UAE. And moving on back to England itself, DRS will be used for the first time in a women's T20 in England. The decision review system will be available in the women's series between England and the West Indies in the T20 series starting tonight. DRS was used in a women's T20 World Cup and the 50-over World Cup, but has never been used previously outside of those tournaments in women's matches. And Paul, that's our cricket news for today. Not much there today.
Thank you very much, Ashwin. We'll hand you over to Stephen, who's going to take us through our birthdays this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Paul, and good morning to everybody tuning into New Zealand Sport Radio. What is a beautiful day here in Auckland. We're expecting a high degrees of 16. Pretty chilly though, I've got to say. 11 this morning, and the traffic is just absolutely chaos with the middle lanes of the Auckland Harbour Bridge closed today. See, I've given you a traffic and weather report as well this morning, guys. In birthdays today.
Pretty simple, folks. We've been working from home for several months. Just work from home.
Carry on working from home.
Well, I suppose there's jobs where people have got to physically be on hand, so they've got to be there. So it is chaotic. Should I say, guys? A tennis birthdays this morning. A tennis legend. We have an All Black winger who scored a lot of tries playing out of Auckland and the Blues. I think he might have even played for the Highlanders as well. And also, finally, we have a very good New Zealand Rugby League prop. And that's where we start our birthdays this morning. Sam Cassiano, born this day, the 21st of December, 1990, also known by the nickname of Dogzilla, is a New Zealand professional rugby league footballer who plays as a prop for the Catalan Dragons in Super League. And they are leading the Super League at this point in time. No games on the weekend, just the one that we reported on Saturday. Cassiano is a New Zealand and a Samoan international now. He previously played for the Canterbury Bulldogs and the Melbourne Storm in the NRL. Moving along, staying with the oval ball game, Douglas Howlett, born at this day, the 21st of September 1978, is a retired professional New Zealand rugby union player. He was primarily a wing, but he also covered fullback at national and international levels. He finished his career with Munster in Ireland with an outstanding 49 tries in 62 tests. Howlett is currently the 7th highest try scorer in rugby union history and the first on the all-time highest try scorers list for the All Blacks. And finally this morning, Kelly Evenden, born this day, the 21st of September 1961 in Gisborne, New Zealand, is a former professional New Zealand tennis player. Now, Evenden turned professional in 1985 and he won his first tour doubles title in 1986 in Cologne, and in 1987 at Bristol was his first singles title. His best singles performance at the Grand Slam event came at the 1987 Australian Open, where he reached the quarterfinals by defeating Jonathan Cantor. Everton represented New Zealand at the 1988 Seoul Olympics Games. Over the course of his career, Everton won 3 top-level singles titles, the last of which was won in 1989 in Wellington. Everton's career high rankings were world number 31, which is pretty good in singles, and world number 19 in doubles. He retired from the professional tour in 1994. Now, amazingly, Everton played his pro tennis career with one lung, having had a lung removed as a result of an injury sustained in an accident at the age of 16. He was hit by a car and his heart stopped twice in 5 days. That is amazing. He now lives on Mercer Island with his 2 sons. Prior to turning professional, Everton played tennis for the University of Arkansas, where he studied business and management and philosophy and was an All-American in 1984. And finally, Everton is a Kora Ngāti Porou Māori, and his name, Te Rangai, means a young warrior. The Irish name Kelly means war. There you go. You've learnt a couple of things this morning. Happy birthday to Doug, Kelly, and Sam.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday to all of them. Hope they have great piece of cake. And don't forget, you can listen to us on the move when you're stuck in that traffic jam. Just download New Zealand Sports Radio to your favourite podcatcher. Moving on to the squash then, and it's quarterfinal stage in the Manchester Open, and Paul Cole was up against Tarek Momen, and in a really tough game, he came through 4-11, 11-3, 11-9, 9-11, 11-7. So yes, a tough game there. Came through 3-2, which will see him now face the world number 1, Mohammed Al Shawbag, for a place in the final. So really a good win for him there. It wasn't all quite so good for I'm trying to find where my place. Sorry, in the women's competition, where King dropped out 12-10, 9-11, 11-5, 11-4 in that one. So tough one for King in the in her quarterfinal, and she'll next be up playing in Cairo for the World Tour Finals, which start on the 28th of September. So good luck to her in that tournament. I'm going to hand you back now to Stephen for the sport that just keeps on giving. It's our NOL update.
Thanks again, Paul. In league news this morning, the night's too strong for the Dragons. The Raiders pull away from the Warriors in the second half. We'll check on that NRL table. We'll also check on the Betfred League table as well, remembering only one game in the round. But we start our league news this morning with the Raiders v the Warriors. The Raiders pulled away in the second half to beat the New Zealand Warriors by 26 points to 14 after they led by 16 points to 14 at halftime. Not a bad half of rugby league from the Warriors. Peter Hiku getting a brace, scoring in the 9th minute. The Warriors were first to score and scoring again in the 28th minute. Both those tries converted by Chanel Harris-Tavita. The first half tries to the Raiders by Jared Coker in the 47th minute, Semi Valemai in the 32nd minute, and right on the cusp of halftime, Hudson Young went in for a try for the Raiders. And in the second half, we just had the two tries. Semi Valemai scored his second try in the 50th minute, and Nick Kotrick sealed the win in the 72nd minute. The rest of the points coming via way of Jared Coker with 2 conversions and 1 penalty goal. That final score again, Raiders 26, Warriors 14. Remembering we've got the last round coming up next weekend before the playoffs. In our second game, well, the Newcastle Knights were far too good for the Dragons, pulling away by 42 points to 18 after they had the game in control at halftime, leading by 30 points to 6. That game played at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. The Knights scored 7 tries to 3. I'll quickly go through the try scorers for the Dragons. They had a double to Zach Lomax, who had a pretty good game, actually. The goal-kicking midfielder. He scored in the 34th and 74th minute, and Corey Norman in the 57th minute. The rest of the points coming via way of the boot from Zach Lomax. Now, we look at the Knights scoring. It started as early as the 3rd minute when Kalen Ponga scored, and then we had Guillermo Shabaski, who scored in the 7th minute, Aidan Guerrero in the 21st minute, Daniel Saifiti in the 24th minute, and Inari Tuala in the 38th minute, and that pretty much set the tone for that 30-6 halftime lead. In the second half, Newcastle just putting on the 2 tries in the second half. Jacob Saifiti pretty much sealing the deal in the 51st minute, and Inari Tuala getting his second try in the 69th minute. The rest of the points coming from former Warrior Mason Lenor, who kicked 7 goals in that very comprehensive win, 42 points to 18 to the Knights over the Dragons. As we have a quick look towards the table with 1 round to go, of course, the Panthers sitting on 35 points, the Storm on 32, the Roosters and Eels on 28 points, and the Raiders on 26. So those top 5 in the last round will all be jockeying for a good position, maybe to get a home final. Raiders in 5th place on 26, Knights on 23, Rabbitohs 22, and the Sharks, who can't be caught on 20 points. But we're just remembering the Sharks will go into these finals without Sean Johnson with a snapped Achilles tendon, and that means he's going to be out for 9 months, and also midfielder Josh Dugan going to be out as well. The Warriors sitting in 12th place on 14 points. And finally, before we go, we'll just check on that Betfred League again. Remembering only one game this weekend that was played on Friday, where Huddersfield beat Wakefield 29 points to 6. I'll have a quick look at that Super League table. It's St. Helens leading on 16 points. In fact, St. Helens, Warrington and Wigan all on 16 points. Back to Leeds, who make up the top 4 on 12 points. And of course, the Catalans and Castleford on 10 each. So that competition resuming again this Friday when we see Hull Kingston Rovers take on Leeds. But I'm pretty sure the guys on the standoff, Brad and Sanjay, will have a little bit more to say about that. Tune in 8 p.m. on Wednesday. That's it from me. I'm going to exit stage right and go and enjoy what is a beautiful day.
Have a great day, Stephen, and thank you very much for that NRL update. Yeah, the finals are almost upon us, folks. It's the pointy end of the season, definitely over in the NRL. Moving on then into the NBA action, and in the basketball, the Celtics pulled one back against the Heat, winning that one 117-106. A dominant first half laid the platform for that for that win, and fourth quarter comeback by the Heat was far too little, too late in that one. That series now is 2-1 in favor of the Heat, but it's best of 7 in that series. Today we will have the Nuggets versus the Lakers in the second game in their series. The Lakers currently lead that 1-0. That starts at 11:30 a.m. New Zealand time. Don't forget to join Daniel on Tuesday evening for your NBA fix, where he'll go through all of the finals action from the last week. Over in motorsport, and after a tough first race where there was plenty of clashes, Scott McLaughlin came back to win the final race of the Repco Super Sprint The Bend weekend. Shane Van Gisbergen got the second race there. That means now that Scott McLaughlin is on 2,062 points, has a 215-point lead over Jamie Whincup. And Shane Van Gisbergen, the winner of that second race, is in fourth place currently. There are just 2 more rounds to go next weekend with the OTR Super Sprint The Bend, which is in the same location as this weekend. And then on to October the 15th to the 18th is the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. So just 2 more rounds of the supercars to go. Scott McLaughlin in the driver's seat. Oh, see what I did there in that competition. Over in the golf, and currently underway is the final round of the US Open, but it does not include Danny Lee. Danny Lee withdrew yesterday after the 18th hole. He was going well into that hole, but then where he was tied at 35th, but he then 6-putted the 18th hole, and which saw him obviously collapse from there. It was not sure what happened there. He withdrew soon afterwards, saying he had an injured wrist in that one. Tough day for Danny Lee at the majors. Clearly, that final hole or that putting is going to be all over YouTube, unfortunately for him. Moving on then into the rugby, and yesterday I was up at Eden Park for the Farah Palmer Cup and the Mitre 10 Cup games up there. I was posting up the post-match interviews, including an interesting one with TJ Perinara. Just running through the results from yesterday in the Mitre 10 Cup. Manawatu beat Otago 35. Manawatu lost to Otago 25-36. Hawke's Bay saw off Counties Manukau 31-17, and Auckland lost out to Wellington at 21-39. After a good start by Auckland last weekend against Otago, and Wellington coming up short against Waikato. A change in fortunes there in that one. That means that Tasman and Waikato are top of the Premiership standings currently, both on 10 points, whereas Taranaki, the new Ranfurly Shield holders, lead the championship on 9 points after just 2 rounds. Over in the Farah Palmer Cup, we had the Manawatu beat Tasman 88-0 in that one. Remember that the Farah Palmer Cup has been split into a north-south competition rather than a Premiership and Championship, which is why we're getting some of these, some tough games there. Auckland Storm lost out to Counties 22-36. Counties Manukau really just dominating that game line, but just too powerful for Auckland. In the tables there, Waikato lead the North Division on 13 points, followed by Auckland on 11. But Counties Manukau have already had a bye week, so they've got one game in hand. Down in the South, Wellington and Canterbury are both on 10 points in that one. At the top of that table. Remember, there'll be the top of South will play second in the North, and top of North play second in the South in semi-finals, followed by a final in the Farah Palmer Cup. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all of the important sports news. And I've just realised I forgot we haven't brought to you the results of the curling mixed nationals competition, but we'll bring you that tomorrow, as I've not got the results up. So do join us tomorrow at 7 a.m. for the morning sports briefing. Remember, the morning sports briefing comes to you 7 days a week, and it's your best way to start the day. Have a great day, folks, and don't forget to join us this evening at 8 p.m. for the Driving Mall Show, for your weekly rugby fix.